Hello everyone, today in this video we will talk about self-care. And we provide you with several suggestions for doing so. First of all, self-care does not imply self-indulgence or selfishness. It entails taking care of oneself so that you may be healthy, do your work successfully, help and care for others, and achieve everything you need and want to in a day. The number of searches for self-care has nearly tripled since 2018, according to Google Trends and also according to Paula Jill Lopez, PhD, an associate professor in Fairfield University's Department of Psychological and Educational Counseling in Fairfield, Connecticut. The necessity for self-care is evident. Self-care is part of the solution to better coping with daily pressures like work stress and the stress of trying to keep up with the speed of daily life, which technology has accelerated faster than ever. Individuals are feeling more isolated and less able to unwind and calm down, which makes even the simplest activities seem more daunting. Welcome to the Personal Development School channel, the one-stop shop for your personal growth needs. Subscribe and get ready to dive into this crazy topic. Let's go! Remember, at Everyday Health, self-care is doing your best to meet your physical and emotional health requirements. We'll look what is self-care first. You can have one perspective on self-care, and I can have another. According to the World Health Organization, health is defined as the ability of individuals, families, and communities to promote health, prevent disease, maintain health, and cope with illness and disability with or without the support of a health practitioner. The up arrow on the right. This idea incorporates everything related to maintaining physical health, such as hygiene, eating, and seeking medical care as needed. It refers to all of the steps a person can take to deal with stress and care for his or her own health and well-being. Self-care is a collection of everyday actions that people participate in to promote health, avoid sickness, and manage concerns that arise. Researchers released a self-care framework in 2019 to emphasize that, in addition to the activities people perform on their own to improve physical and emotional health, self-care also encompasses how people engage with physicians and healthcare systems to care for their physical and mental health. As self-care has grown more popular, definitions have shifted to emphasize overall well-being and the need of recognizing and satisfying one's own needs. The International Self-Care Foundation considers health literacy to be a pillar of self-care, which means that any efforts you take to improve your health are considered self-care. Health literacy is also included as a pillar of self-care by the International Self-Care Foundation, which means that any measures you take toward better comprehending health information that you need to make appropriate decisions about your health and well-being qualify as self-care. Self-care is the practice of regularly checking in with oneself and inquiring how one is feeling physically, intellectually, and emotionally. It may be used to cope with harsh news articles or to sustain cheerfulness on a daily basis. Self-care may not mean the same thing to everyone, and your idea of it may evolve over time. Regular self-care can help one put one's best foot forward and sustain positive well-being. Dr. Amsalem thinks that by taking care of oneself on a daily basis, one is better equipped to react to events in one's life and preserve good well-being. Types of self-care. It might be anything that floats your boat, anything that makes you happy, says Dr. Jill Lopez. Anything that makes you feel cared for, even if you're taking care of yourself. Self-care may be divided into several categories such as emotional, physical, spiritual, mental, social. It is critical to have good coping skills while dealing with unpleasant emotions such as anger, worry, and grief. Activities that help recognize and express feelings on a regular and safe basis are examples of emotional self-care. Consider if you have healthy ways to manage your emotions and add activities that help you feel recharged when evaluating emotional self-care practices. Emotional self-care includes self-talk, weekly bubble baths, saying no to activities that generate unneeded stress, allowing oneself to pause, and scheduling a weekly coffee session with a buddy. Physical self-care includes things like prioritizing sleep, developing a consistent exercise program, and selecting nutritious and nourishing foods over overly processed ones. Attending a religious service, spending time in nature, meditating, adding random acts of kindness into your day, or maintaining a gratitude book are all examples of spiritual self-care. Mental self-care is essential for psychological health. It entails engaging in activities that keep your mind fresh, such as puzzles and learning about a topic that interests you. It also includes activities that promote mental health, such as practicing self-compassion and acceptance. To consider mental self-care, create adequate time for cognitively stimulating activities and undertake proactive measures to assist you stay mentally healthy. Self-care requires socialization, but it may be tough to make time for friends and connections when life gets hectic. It is critical to invest time and attention into developing and maintaining intimate connections. Everyone has various social demands. Therefore, it is critical to identify yours and make adequate time in your schedule to have an ideal social life. Consider if you are receiving enough face-to-face time with your friends and what you are doing to foster your connections to evaluate your social self-care. Tell us about the forms of self-care you presently practice and where you think you should improve. Additionally, let us know how you felt once you started taking care of yourself. There are some things that may and cannot be termed self-care. Let us classify what they are. Self-care is something that will provide you long-term delight. It doesn't have to be about lavishing yourself with expensive experiences or activities, but it may help you de-stress and make time for yourself. If weekly manicures or monthly spa days are out of your price range, there are plenty additional self-care habits you may implement. Even if you don't have a lot of time or money, Jill Lopez believes you can still practice self-care many times a week by transforming daily activities into self-care practices. For example, being more attentive of your thoughts throughout your commute, or finding methods to make regular routines more joyful, such as showering. Here are some self-care techniques to try. Jill Lopez advises choosing a soap with a pleasant aroma and concentrating on the physical sensations of the shower. Making your bed in the morning is an example of self-care, but it may not be sufficient to account for all of your self-care. Amsalem says that if you have days when you feel out of control, starting the day doing what you intended to do for yourself may be one of the most significant types of self-care you undertake on that day. These modest self-care routines can give just enough tranquility to help us get through the day and wake up in a better mood the next day. The advantages of self-care for your health and well-being. Self-care methods such as exercise, yoga, and mindfulness, according to Ellen K. Baker, Ph.D., a psychologist located in Washington, D.C., are beneficial to both mental and physical health. People who exercise between 2 and 8 hours per week reduce their risk of dying prematurely by 29 to 36%. Having a strong life purpose is associated with lower mortality rates. Eating a diet rich in fruits and vegetables per day is associated with a lower risk of mortality. Sleeping too little is associated with a higher mortality rate. And spending time in green space is associated with a lower mortality rate. The clinical data demonstrating the long-term health advantages of embracing a self-care approach to health is lacking. So, are you prepared to begin your self-care routine? If so, here's how to get started. Self-care can improve your health and perspective, but it takes a commitment or desire to invest in your well-being. To begin, decide which activities offer you joy, recharge your energy, and restore equilibrium. Increase your practice to one behavior every day for 1 week. Reflect on how you feel, add more practices when ready, and seek help from loved ones, a coach, a qualified professional, or through your healthcare plan, community, or workplace. Get help from reputable counselors and behavioral health professionals. We hope you found some inspiration and helpful hints for your future self-care practice. Also, share this with your friends and family so they may modify their self-care routines as well. If you like the video, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon. Thank you for watching.